Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here with Amanda Urban from Game Brewer, looking at Paris. This is not a full production
That's
copy
the prototype.
yet. It looks pretty awesome in terms of the actual production quality, but this is not the final production yet. I assume it will look just as good.
Yeah,
But
the art's
maybe
the
these
same.
will hold together more and things like that. But you have a Kickstarter that is running, or
Launching on Monday, March
all right,
16th.
So March 16th, 2020. Maybe it's still active when you watch this. Maybe it's already stopped. But this game will be out near the end of 2020.
Yep.
Paris is a design by Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling, and maybe you can tell us what we're doing in Paris.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm pretty excited to play this for the first time here recently. It's got a lot going on, looks a little bit busy, but it's really quite streamlined once you get going.
Okay.
At the start of everybody's turn, they're going to have to choose a district tile to add out. They can see on the backs of the tiles which area it will go, but they don't know what number.
Okay. We
So they have a little
6
bit of
districts,
choice. Mhm.
and these tiles are going on these locations here.
Right, on the numbered areas. So when I
Okay.
flip this over, if you can see that, it's going to be for, I chose the hardest one to reach over there.
Yes.
And I flip it over and it's a 1, so we're going to add it to the 1 area. And it doesn't belong to me, it's just a way to kind of randomly seed the board for play. And so
Okay.
now it would be my turn. My turn involves taking one of these keys and doing an action with it. Now, if I want to add a new key to the board, the only place they can go are on the banks. I'm going to
Okay.
be telling the bankers I wish to invest in their district.
And if
or
you've already invested here, you're done?
if you've
You cannot
invested
go
and your
back?
key is still on the investment section, you can't go there. But once, so like over here, people can see I already have a red key out on the board in mid-game here. I can add a key to the bank there, and I would take out the $2 loan or the $7 loan or whichever
Whatever
one
it
they're
is.
offering.
Okay.
In the future, when there are keys here, I can then instead move them out onto a tile.
Okay.
So instead of taking money for my action, I would buy a tile. So over here, I would pay 1 franc,
Okay.
and I would be the owner of that building.
Okay.
The purpose in owning buildings is each of the districts is going to be a little area control majority fight. And
Okay.
at the beginning, you don't know how much each area is going to be worth, if anything, at the end of the game.
Okay.
But you're
That's a-
sort
that's
of
a
trying
surprise.
to jump in there and start investing in a district. Now, 2 things to know about the districts. When you have purchased level 1, you can upgrade, or I mean level 2 or 3, you can always upgrade, but you have to go to a more valuable priced building.
Right.
You can't degrade your value. You wouldn't want to do that anyway. So if I had that 1 franc building, I could then upgrade to the 4 for only 3 francs.
Okay.
Because you pay the difference between the 2, and now I have more position in that area. And then later, maybe I'm here, putting it on the 1. 1 plus 4, 5 is my strength for the area control.
And each area also has a token next to it?
Yes, so the first person to buy a building gets to take the token. Tokens
Okay.
are going to come in handy for building landmark buildings, which I'll come back to in just a second, as well as for some of these bonus tiles, which I'll also come back to here. So if I abandoned that number 1 and moved over to the 4, and then you came along, you're welcome to buy that 1 franc building.
But this will be gone.
But the tile will be gone.
Okay.
And so you're kind of jostling for position, trying to upgrade. The 8, the really fancy one, does cost some of the wood resource to build, but you get some victory points. And obviously is better for when you're fighting for the area control. Now, the
Okay.
resources that you're collecting can be turned into these lovely landmark tiles, which are all the different beautiful Parisian landmarks. So you've got
Okay.
like Notre Dame and the Eiffel Tower. It is.
And these are going in these low.
They
6
will go
locations around the board?
to districts,
Okay.
and they can go. You can have more than 1 there, but you can never have a lower value above a higher value. So you have to always increase. So that 16 that I have as red
You are not going to top the Eiffel
cemented
Tower.
the Eiffel Tower as the most fancy
Yes.
landmark in Paris. And they will also allow you to turn some of these tokens that you've collected into victory points when you build them. So you
Okay.
need a lot of resources and money, but you'll be able to get some points, plus have a really high stake for the control of that district.
Okay, because you own that landmark.
Right.
When you
Now,
purchase
there's
it there.
one other part of this game that we haven't touched on, which is this outside track. The way you access that is when you are buying the lower cost buildings. Since they're not going to help you very much for that area control, you're able to place your key into that building, and the little symbol on the top there indicates you now have a bonus track action.
Okay.
The
On
bonus-
any of the tracks around here?
So the track
Oh,
on the
it's a
edge
vast
of these
number.
these tiles here, it's
Yes.
1 circle. They're numbered 1 through 30. They're not random setup.
Okay.
There'll be usually 1 per player, and then this is actually a 4-player game. You'd have 3 of some. When you go on this track, you have a little worker that matches your color. You can go on any one of these tokens or tiles that you want, and you would take that tile and add it behind your screen and use it when you want in the future.
Okay.
However, this circular track is one time, so you can go,
can't go
in
back
this
from what you
direction
had.
and
Okay.
you jump forward. So if you
Alright.
pass over that stuff, you're never getting it. And some of the really good in-game scoring high point ones are at the end, but you only get them when you're on the low-cost buildings. So
Okay.
timing is key on so many things in this game, because you can save your tiles to be used at the most opportune moment.
Okay. We also apparently can take ownership of the arcade realm.
So that
How does
is
that work?
so that's sort of like the district-free zone.
Okay.
It's like a bank, but it doesn't have any money to offer you.
That is
It's
not much
a
like a
real
bank.
Well, the bank spaces.
Yes.
And so instead of adding a key and taking some money, once you do, you belong to that district.
Yes.
This one, you add your key. You don't get any money, but you don't have to be cemented into any one
And it
district.
gives you freedom to go wherever.
Because you can't just buy a building from off the board. So if somebody puts down the building you want because it's got the token you need to buy the fancy building or
Yes.
something, this
But
is
you don't
gonna-
already have an investment
Right.
here, you can leap in.
If you're already here, that helps
Okay.
you get into
All right.
the district. Because I could go here hoping that this tile will come out soon, but because 3 are removed at the beginning, you may never see that particular tile.
Yes.
But this would give you more freedom to go on any of the 4s to collect your wood.
Okay. All right. So you have the money management of taking out loans. Do you have to repay these loans?
No,
at the
not
end, or
really
that's
loans.
just
I
the
think
f-
my
the flow
thematic,
of- the flow of the money
Yes.
for buying
Yeah.
things later on.
Yeah.
You don't know what value
Oh.
these have until when.
Right. So when when somebody places the 4th key on a building, let's say there's buildings there, in any one district, so not in the bank, but on buildings, including landmarks, whoever places it gets to choose one of these scoring tiles.
So not random, but
they don't have to add it to the one that they just put the 4th key in. So maybe they put the 4th key in here, but somebody else has already got 20 points.
right.
I mean, they could give them a low scoring one, but they'll probably take the high scoring one and add it to the district where they are
they've
stronger.
already locked in something here.
So you want to like
Okay.
maybe jump in an area that you weren't previously in just to get the privilege of placing that on the section that you want. And you can be a
Okay.
little spiteful in putting like a low value somewhere, but these don't all necessarily come out. I think I've seen as many as 5 and as few as 3.
Okay.
So you may never see them in
So
a zone.
what triggers the end of the game?
Right.
Well,
So
you're talking about only seeing a few of those. Obviously, that relates to the end game.
So about
timing.
halfway through the game, the board is covered in the tiles except for the 3 that were taken out, and so it looks super pretty. And you keep playing, you keep putting out keys. But I pull this in from out of the board. We have these flags. So once these are gone, instead of taking a key action, you can choose to pick up all this bigger stack of French flags and look through for some resources or some money, or there's other things in there that you can take. That's your whole turn. But when this stack of French flags runs out, the game wraps up the round
Okay.
and is over.
And you are scoring points from each district
at the
where
end
you
game.
have, based on the majority and what the total is here.
Correct. First,
what
second,
other
third.
points are you scoring?
So those
By the
are
way, you have
mostly
in-game
on the
bonuses?
bonuses. Building the 8s will give you a little bit, but they're actually in-game scoring. So the only one on the outside that's end-game is this purple one there. The rest
Okay.
of them require you to, when you buy the tile, to kind of wait for the opportune moment. So you don't have to use
Okay.
it right away, but you'll get 5 points for every 4 that you have a key of your color on.
Okay,
So
at
you
the
may-
time that you purchase this.
At the time you choose to spend it. So when you purchase it, then you might like,
Okay.
oh, now I'm going to get some 4s, and you start to do something different that you maybe weren't working on
All
previously.
right. So 2 to 4 player game?
2 to 4 players.
What's the playing time?
I would say an hour to 90 minutes.
Okay.
It's surprisingly quick. This kind of changes depending on who's playing, how fast people are taking those French flags. It can end, these go pretty quick. So
Okay. Wow. Amanda, thank you very much for overview. This is definitely beefy Cromer Kiesling game. They have a good reputation over many years
Huge
for what
fan.
they've created. Thank you very much for showing it.
Yeah, thank you.
So Paris from Game Brewer coming in Q4 2020.
yes.